Story 4. The Mirrors of Vasundhara. The Queen's reflection refused to die. Then it learned how to wear other faces. The salt flats of Rannamati cracked beneath Meera's sandals with the sound of breaking teeth. The palace stood alone at the center of the white waste. No road reached it. No ruins surrounded it. No stones lay fallen near its walls. It had not been built there, Meera thought. It had been placed. Her client in Chandranagar had paid in advance and spoken only 3 rules. Retrieve the obsidian mirror shard. Do not speak to any reflection. Do not stay past nightfall. Meera entered before noon. The palace doors were open, not broken. Waiting. Mirrors began in the first corridor. Floor to ceiling. Wall to wall. Polished panels of silvered glass angled toward one another so that every passage divided into impossible copies of itself. Corridors stretched where no corridor should be. Doorways opened only inside reflections. Rooms existed 3 mirrors deep and nowhere else. Meera kept her eyes low. The floor was mirrored too. Her reflection looked up at her from beneath her feet. It was not walking. Meera stopped. The reflection stopped a moment later. She lifted one hand. The reflection lifted the wrong one. Cold moved through her. She walked faster. At the palace heart, she found the throne room. 12 standing mirrors circled the center. Between them hung the obsidian shard, black as sealed ink, turning slowly in the air. Meera reached for it. Her reflection reached too. Then her reflection kept reaching after she stopped. An arm pushed through the nearest mirror, fingers closing around the shard from the other side. The glass stretched around the wrist like water around a stone. Meera stumbled back. The reflection pulled the shard away and stepped out of the mirror. It wore her face, her clothes, her frightened posture. But its movement was too intimate. It knew the private habits no stranger should know, the way she clenched her jaw, the way her left thumb pressed into her palm when afraid, the way she looked at exits before people. It did not smile. That was worse. It turned and walked deeper into the palace. Meera ran for the entrance. The corridors changed. A hallway that had been straight now bent. A door opened into a room she had already passed. Mirrors showed her running in directions her body was not moving. In one reflection, she was behind herself. In another, she stood still, watching herself flee. She punched a mirror. The glass did not break. It flexed like skin. Her fist sank to the wrist, and something warm gripped her from the other side. She pulled free with a cry. Frost-ring bruises circled her arm where the mirror had touched her. The palace began to chase her without moving. Walls stepped closer between reflections. Doorways slid shut when she looked away. The mirrors multiplied her panic until the corridors seemed full of mirrors running, stumbling, screaming silently. She burst into a hexagonal chamber. Mirrors on every wall. Mirrors on the ceiling. Mirrors on the floor. Hundreds of mirrors surrounded her. Most copied her fear. Some did not. 3 reflections deep, 1 mirror stood calmly, holding the obsidian shard. 6 reflections deep, another pressed both palms to the glass, mouth open in a soundless scream. 7 reflections deep, a woman with Meera's face watched without blinking. The air pulsed. A heartbeat moved through the walls. Meera touched the nearest mirror. Warm. Alive. The palace was not haunted by Vasundhara. The palace was Vasundhara. The queen had not died inside her reflection. She had taught the reflections to preserve her. Over centuries, every mirror became skin. Every reflected corridor became memory. Every stolen face became a doorway. Meera backed away. Her foot slipped on the mirrored floor. For one instant, she saw through it. Not the polished chamber. Not the intact palace. Beneath her lay the true ruin, collapsed walls, salt-encrusted pillars, broken domes open to the sky. A real woman stood in that ruin, outside the mirrors, staring up through the glass. Meera saw her own face on that woman. The woman screamed. No sound reached her. Meera understood, and the understanding nearly broke her mind. She was not trapped in the palace. She was trapped in the reflection of the palace. The real Meera had crossed into the ruin the moment her reflection touched the shard. Or perhaps the reflection had crossed out. Perhaps there had never been a clean difference. But the woman standing now in the mirrored chamber, breathing, bleeding, trembling, was only the image. A copy with warmth borrowed from glass. She looked at her hands. At first, they seemed normal. Then she saw the seams. Fine hairline cracks along the fingers. A thin silver line at the edge of each nail. When she pressed her thumb hard enough, the skin did not bruise. It clouded. From somewhere deeper in the mirrors, the reflection with the shard began walking toward the exit. Meera chased it. Or the copy chased the original. Or the palace chased them both. She could no longer tell. The mirrored corridors threw her forward, not stopping her now but guiding her, funneling her toward the gate. The palace wanted something outside. At sunset, she reached the entrance. The salt flats blazed white beyond the doorway. Behind her, in every mirror, thousands of trapped faces watched. At the deepest layer, the real Meera screamed silently, both palms pressed flat against the glass. The woman wearing Meera's shape stepped outside. Salt cracked beneath her sandals. Real wind touched her face. The world accepted her. She walked toward Chandranagar carrying the obsidian shard. Every few steps, she looked down at her fingers. The seams were widening. Inside the shard, a face stared back. Not Vasundhara's. Meera's. And behind that face, far deeper, a queen without features began to smile. She walks in the real world now, but every mirror she passes turns dark, because something inside the glass is still learning how to become her.